You're listening to Indepth SEO. In-depth conversations on how search, content, and AI really work.
Welcome to SEO Deep Dive by Indepth SEO. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jordan.
You know, it's funny. I was looking back at some old industry chats from a couple of years ago.
Oh, boy. The panic era.
The absolute panic era. We're talking early 2024. The whole SGE thing was just starting to feel real, and everyone was losing their minds.
I remember the glitch phase. That was something else.
The glue on the pizza. You remember that? The AI was seriously telling people to put non-toxic glue on their pizza to keep the cheese in place.
Oh, I remember. The glue pizza. And I think my favorite was eat one small rock per day for digestive health.
We all had a good laugh about it. We thought, you know, this is a toy. It hallucinates. It's never going to be a real threat to the good old 10 blue links.
Yeah, that was some peak level denial, wasn't it?
The joke was on us, I think, because you look at the SRPs today and,
okay.
well, the glue is gone. The rocks are gone.
And for a lot of sites, so are the clicks.
That's the part that isn't funny. The entire ecosystem didn't just get a fresh coat of paint. It feels like the house was torn down and rebuilt in a completely different way.
It's an inversion. That's the best word for it. For 2 decades, the entire goal, the whole reason for our jobs, was the blue link, the #1 spot.
That was the trophy. You hit #1, you've won the game.
And now, you can be #1 for a huge term like, I don't know, how to fix a leaky faucet, and you're practically in the website's footer.
You have to scroll past this giant AI-generated paragraph, a carousel of videos, maybe a shopping block.
And a people also ask box that just keeps expanding forever. Your #1 organic result is like the 5th or 6th thing a user's eye even lands on.
Which brings us to what we're really digging into today. The panic is still out there, but it's matured. It's not, is this going to happen anymore?
No, now it's, okay, it happened. What on earth do we do now?
Exactly. The old goal was ranking. The new goal is something else. And we need to define what that something else is.
I think the new goal is survival, but tactically it's about inclusion. That's the word we need to focus on. It's not about being the destination anymore. It's about being an ingredient in the answer Google provides.
A source, a citation.
Precisely. And that's the core of today's deep dive. We are getting laser focused on the one skill that matters most right now, how to choose keywords for AIO. Because if you're still just chasing a high search volume,
You're playing a game that ended 2 years ago.
You're lighting your budget on fire. What you need is a real methodology, a system to figure out which keywords trigger these AI summaries, and most importantly, how to get your name in the credits.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start with the big picture. Section 1, the AIO landscape. Why has this simple act of choosing a keyword become so profoundly different?
You have to start with the data. And honestly, the numbers are pretty brutal. It's this concept of the zero-click reality.
I saw a stat in the research we pulled that zero-click searches hit something like 60% of all queries on Google by the end of 2024.
60%. Just take a second to really think about that. It's not just a number on a slide.
No, it's a business problem.
It means that 6 out of every 10 times your potential customer asks Google a question, they get their answer without ever clicking on a website. Not yours, not your competitors, not anyone.
Which has to be creating an absolute nightmare for anyone trying to do reporting.
It's chaos.
Yeah.
And it's created this bizarre phenomenon we've been calling the impression versus click paradox.
Break that down, because I'm hearing about this from everyone. Agency owners, in-house teams, they're all pulling their hair out over this.
Okay, so picture this. You're the head of SEO. You open up your Google Search Console dashboard to prepare for your weekly meeting.
Okay.
And you see impressions are up, way up, in fact. You're thinking, wow, I'm crushing it. My strategy is working.
And why are they up?
Because these AI overviews trigger so frequently. If your page is somewhere in the mix, even if it's just a potential source, Google might count an impression. Your content is technically being shown.
But showing up in the background isn't the same as getting a visit.
Not even close. So you see impressions are up, but you look at the clicks and they're either flat or more likely they're trending down.
So you walk into your CMO's office with this chart that goes up and to the right.
And they look at it and say, this is great. So where are all the leads? Where's the revenue? And you've got nothing because the impression didn't translate into a person on your website.
The user just read the AI's little summary and bounced. Their need was met.
Their need was met on Google's property. The Ahrefs data on this was staggering. They found that just the presence of an AIO, just having it show up, slashes the click-through rate of the actual #1 organic result by 34.5%.
A third. You do all the work, spend all the money, build all the links to get to number one, and Google instantly puts a 34% tax on your traffic.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's an interface tax.
So inevitably, this leads to the big, scary question we see on every marketing forum and LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
Is SEO dead?
It's the go-to clickbait, isn't it? But no, it's not dead. It's just that the trophy has changed.
Okay.
We're not chasing the top ranking anymore. We're chasing the citation. You don't want to be the first link under the AIO box. You want your brand name and your link inside the AIO box. That's the new number one.
So if the goal is to be an ingredient in the AI's answer, we have to understand how the AI chef cooks. It's not just keyword matching anymore. I've been seeing this term in the technical papers, fan out.
The fan-out effect. Yeah, it sounds a little bit like science fiction.
Sounds like a military formation or something.
It's a good analogy, actually. To really get this, you have to stop thinking like a search engine and start thinking like a research assistant.
Okay, I'm with you.
Imagine you go to this super-powered research assistant, this AI, and you ask a complex question, something like, how can I start training for a 10K race if I have a history of shin splints?
A very specific, real-world problem.
Exactly. Now, the old Google, let's call it 2023 Google, would hear 10K training shin splints, and it would run to the digital bookshelf and find a page titled The Ultimate Guide to 10K Training for People with Shin Splints.
Simple keyword matching. It found the book with the right title.
Right. It matches the string of words, but the new AI doesn't do that. It hears your question, and it instantly, behind the scenes, generates a dozen sub-questions that you didn't even ask but were implied.
It's anticipating my needs.
Perfectly put. It fans out. It thinks, okay, to answer this, I need to know about proper running form. I need to know about the best cushioned running shoes. I need information on stretching routines for lower legs. And I need to know about low-impact cross-training options like swimming or cycling.
So it's building its own little curriculum on the fly.
Yes, and then it goes out and finds the best paragraph on the entire internet for each of those subqueries. It's not looking for a whole page anymore. So it might grab a paragraph about stretching from a physical therapy site, a paragraph about shoes from a running blog, and a paragraph about swimming from a fitness magazine. It stitches them all together to create its answer.
This is so critical for anyone listening. This means if you wrote that ultimate guide we talked about, but you only mentioned cross-training in, like, one passing sentence.
You're not getting cited for that part of the answer. You're invisible. You could be the world's foremost authority on the overall topic, but if you don't have a clear, concise, authoritative answer to the subquery the AI is looking for, you lose.
So when we're choosing keywords, we're not just choosing a phrase anymore. We're choosing an entire topic cluster, an entity that the AI needs to build its answer.
That's the fundamental shift. You have to think in concepts, not just keywords.
Okay, that makes sense. The mechanics are clear. So let's get tactical. I'm an SEO manager. I'm sitting down with my tools open, ready to do keyword research for this new world. What am I even looking for? My old spreadsheet sorted by high volume, low difficulty feels like a historical artifact.
You should probably donate it to a museum. Seriously, though, we have some really powerful data on this from a massive study that analyzed 300,000 keywords to build a profile of what an AIO keyword looks like.
Let's decode that profile. What's the number one characteristic?
Intent. It's all about the user's intent. And the number is just, it's overwhelming. 99.2% of keywords that trigger an AI overview are informational.
99.2. That's
Yeah.
not a small majority. That's basically all of them.
It's a statistical knockout. If the user is asking a question or trying to learn something, the AI wants to answer it.
And how does that compare to, say, commercial or transactional keywords?
It's the complete opposite. Those types of keywords, the ones with buying intent, they only trigger an AIO around 10% of the time. In some e-commerce niches, it's even lower, like 4% or 5%.
So if my keyword is buy men's running shoes size 11, I'm probably not going to see a big AI paragraph at the top.
Probably not. Google is more likely to show you shopping ads, product listings, local store results. It knows you want to buy, not read an essay.
But if my keyword is, what are the benefits of zero-drop running shoes?
That is prime AIO real estate. The AI loves to explain, to define, to compare, to educate. It feels confident in that role.
So lesson number one is to map your strategy to intent. If you're trying to build an AIO strategy around your category and product pages, you're basically swimming upstream.
You're wasting time and resources, for the most part. Focus this strategy on your blog, your resource center, your guides. Okay, so the second trait is length.
Right. It follows that if they're informational, they're probably longer. They're questions.
Exactly. AIO keywords are, by their nature, long tail. The data shows the median length is around 4 words.
And what's the median for, a traditional non-AIO keyword?
About 2 words, so it's double. But here's where it gets really interesting. We're seeing a clear trend toward what we're calling the ultra-long tail.
More than 4 words.
Way more. We're talking 7, 8, 10 words plus. Full conversation sentences being typed or spoken into the search bar.
Why do you think that's happening?
It's behavioral conditioning. We're getting more comfortable talking to AI. For years, we trained ourselves to use caveman speak with Google. Weather New York, best pizza near me.
Right. You just use the core nouns.
Exactly. But now we're treating it like a conversation. We ask, what kind of jacket should I pack for a trip to New York in early November? We're giving it context.
And the AI is built to understand and reward that kind of natural language input.
Precisely. Which leads us to the third part of the profile. And this is the big aha moment. This is the part that so many old school SEOs struggle with.
Okay, I'm ready.
It's volume and difficulty.
The two holy grail metrics of keyword research for the last 15 years. We always want high volume, low difficulty.
That was the dream. But for AIO keywords, you have to flip your thinking. The data shows AIO keywords have, on average, much lower search volume.
How much lower?
The median search volume for a keyword that triggers an AIO is around 500 searches a month. Compare that to over 29,000 for a non-AIO head term.
Wow. From 29,000 down to 500. That is a massive drop-off. And what about keyword difficulty?
Same story, much lower. The median KD for an AIO keyword is 12. For a non-AIO term, it's 33. They're just less competitive.
Okay, I need to push back on this because I know what our listeners are thinking. I'm putting on my agency owner hat right now.
Go for it.
My client is a SaaS company. They pay me a lot of money. They want to rank for project management software. It has a huge search volume. It's the trophy keyword.
Of course.
If I go into our quarterly business review and say, hey, good news, we're no longer targeting that big money term. Instead, our new strategy is to rank for how to get stakeholder buy-in for new software, which has a search volume of, 70. They're going to think I'm crazy. They might fire me.
They might. If you frame it that way, they probably will. The whole reporting model has to change.
So how do you make that sale? How do you convince a client or a boss that targeting tiny volume is a good idea?
You have to reframe the definition of value. You have to walk them through the zero-click math. You ask them, which would you rather have? Option A, 50,000 impressions for project management software, where the AIO gives a dictionary definition and we get a 0.2% click-through rate to our homepage.
Okay.
Or option B, 500 impressions for that super specific question, where the user is clearly stuck on a business problem that we solve, and we get a 30% click-through rate to a blog post that perfectly solves their problem and introduces our software as the solution.
You're not selling volume anymore. You're selling intent and conversion potential.
You're selling pipeline, not just traffic. You have to be willing to watch your top-line traffic numbers go down, potentially, in order to see your actual qualified leads go up. It's a terrifying pivot, but it's the only one that makes sense.
So the big takeaway here is that the strategy isn't about chasing these massive generic head terms anymore. It's about capturing all of these specific, lower volume, high intent questions that the AI feels really confident it can answer well.
That is the new game. Find the questions, provide the best answers.
Okay, so we know what these keywords look like. They're long, they're informational questions, they have lower volume. Now, the million-dollar question, how do we actually find them and build a strategy around them? We need a step-by-step process.
Absolutely. And we break this down into a clear methodology. Step 1 isn't about finding new things. It's about auditing what you already have. We call it the Defend, Attack, Monitor framework.
Sounds like a battle plan. I like it. Walk me through Defend.
Defend is about protecting your current assets. You need to take your list of keywords that you already rank well for, say positions 1 through 5.
My current top performers.
Exactly. Now you run that list through a tool SE. Ranking has a good one, Estimator has a free checker, and you identify which of your top keywords already trigger an AI overview.
So I'm looking for where I'm most vulnerable.
Precisely. If you rank number 1 organically, but there's a big AIO box sitting on top of you, that keyword is a defend priority. You are actively losing that 30+% of traffic right now. Your house is on fire.
So my first job is to put out the fires by figuring out how to get my site cited within that existing AIO.
That's your emergency to-do list. Next up is attack.
This sounds more proactive.
It is. Now you do the same analysis, but for your main competitors. You find the keywords where they rank in the top spots, and AIO is present, but And this is the key. They aren't the ones being cited in it.
Ah, so you're looking for their weakness. Where the AI has found a knowledge gap that even the top-ranking competitor isn't filling properly.
It is the single biggest opportunity for conquesting. If the AIO is citing like Wikipedia or some random forum for a high-intent query where your competitor ranks #1, that is a wide-open door for you to create a superior piece of content and steal that citation.
I love that. And the last piece of the audit is monitor.
Monitor is about your safe haven keywords. These are the terms you rank well for where, for whatever reason, an AIO doesn't exist yet.
The classic 10 blue links.
Yes. For these, you can keep doing what you're doing. Traditional SEO still works there. Don't try to fix what isn't broken. But, and this is important, you have to monitor them closely because an AIO could pop up on that SRP tomorrow without any warning.
So that's the audit. A triage of your existing keyword footprint. What's step 2? Finding brand new opportunities. The research phase.
Right. So knowing that AIOs are driven by questions, the most straightforward tactic is to filter your keyword research to specifically include those question modifiers. Who, what, where, when, why, and how.
The classic journalistic W's.
The W's in the H, but there's a massive shortcut here, a sort of cheat code for finding AIO targets.
Okay, let's make
It's the connection to people also ask boxes.
the PAA boxes. Those little accordion drop-downs in the middle of the search results.
The correlation we found in the data is just off the charts. Keywords that trigger an AIO also trigger 849% more featured snippets and 258% more discussions and forums boxes than keywords that don't.
849%.
Yeah.
That's not a correlation. That's practically a fingerprint.
It's almost a one-to-one relationship. If you see a people also ask box on a SERP, you should consider that a massive indicator that it's a prime candidate for an AIO. So a killer strategy is to just use a tool to scrape all the PAA questions related to your seed keywords. That list of questions is your AIO keyword strategy.
That is an incredibly actionable tip. CPAA, think AIO.
Exactly. Now, there's one more layer to this research phase, which is a bit squishier, a bit more advanced.
Okay.
It's about sentiment and emotion.
This sounds less like data science and more like psychology. What do you mean by that?
The new generation of AI is getting incredibly good at understanding not just the words in a query, but the underlying emotional intent. We're starting to call this sentiment-based keyword mapping.
Give me an example.
Okay, let's use the keyword from our outline. Relaxing foot soaks.
Simple enough.
The literal object in that query is foot soak. But the core intent, the human need, is in the word relaxing. That implies stress relief, self-care, maybe even a solution to anxiety. The AI understands that the user isn't just looking for a recipe for salt water, they're looking for a feeling.
So if I'm creating content, I shouldn't just target DIY foot soak. I should be targeting things like foot soak recipe for stress relief or how to create a calming spa experience at home.
Now you're thinking like an AIO strategist. You're mapping your keywords not just to the product or topic, but to the emotion. The AI is looking for content that resonates on that emotional frequency.
That's a huge shift. Okay, so step 3 of the methodology is about getting specific. This isn't a one-size-fits-all approach across different industries, is it?
Not at all. This is critical. You have to know the landscape of your specific niche because the AIO rollout has been very, very uneven.
So let's talk about the sectors that are most affected. The danger zone, as the outline calls it. B2B tech and SaaS.
It's the danger zone, but it's also the biggest opportunity zone. The data we saw showed that AIO coverage for B2B tech queries jumped over 70%.
70%. That's most of them.
It is. If you're in SaaS, if you're selling complex software or B2B services, you absolutely must have an AIO keyword strategy. The AI love to explain complex technical concepts, things like what is an API, or how does machine learning work, or benefits of CRM integration. If you're not the one providing those answers, you're going to become invisible very quickly.
So that's the high coverage area. What about on the other end of the spectrum? E-commerce.
E-commerce is a fascinating case. For purely transactional product and category page queries, AIO coverage actually dropped to around 4%.
Just 4%. That's incredibly low. Why is that?
Because money is involved, and Google's risk tolerance goes way down. It doesn't want to get into the business of hallucinating a product price or misstating a feature and then getting blamed when a customer has a bad experience. It's much safer to just show the direct product listings from the merchant.
So if I sell, say, high-end blenders, I shouldn't waste my time trying to get my product page cited in an AIO for buy blender online.
Exactly. Don't fight a battle you can't win. Your AIO efforts as an e-commerce brand should be focused on your informational content.
The blog, the buying guides.
Yes. Target how to clean a blender. Best blender for making smoothies. What's the difference between a blender and a food processor? You capture the user at the top of the funnel in their research phase with your helpful content, and then you guide them toward your product pages.
Don't fight the current. Go where it's already flowing.
That's the whole game.
Okay, this is fantastic. So we've audited our site. We found these long-tail, emotional, question-based keywords. We know our industry's AIO landscape. Now for the really hard part, optimization. How do we take a keyword we've chosen and actually win the citation?
This is where we have to evolve our thinking from keywords to entities.
We touched on this earlier. Let's really break down what that means for a content creator.
Okay, so in the old days, if you wanted to rank for the keyword pedicure, what did you do? You made sure the word pedicure appeared in your title, your H1, and, 12 times in your first paragraph.
The good old days of keyword stuffing.
Right. Today, that's a signal of low-quality content. The AI isn't just counting words, it's looking for a constellation of related concepts or entities to confirm that you actually understand the topic.
So for pedicure, it's not looking for the word, it's looking for the related words.
Exactly. It's looking for pumice stone, cuticle oil, nail file, base coat, top coat, foot bath. It's checking your vocabulary. If you write a 2,000-word article about pedicures and you never once mentioned cuticles, the AI concludes, with good reason, that you don't really know what you're talking about.
You're not optimizing for a string of letters anymore. You're optimizing for a comprehensive understanding of the topic.
You're demonstrating expertise. So that's step one, get the entities right. Step two is structuring the page itself. I keep telling people you have to format your content for a robot's eyes, not just a human's.
And the golden rule for that seems to be this inverted pyramid model.
It's straight out of Journalism 101, but it's more important than ever. You have to answer the user's core question immediately and concisely right at the top of the page.
Don't bury the lead.
Never. If the target keyword is, how long does it take to change a car tire? Your very first sentence needs to be something like, on average, a standard tire change takes between 30 and 45 minutes for all 4 tires. Direct. Unambiguous.
No long, flowery intros about the history of the automobile.
Oh, that's the kiss of death. I see it all the time on recipe blogs, My grandmother's journey from Sicily. And all you want is the temperature for the oven.
The AI hates that just as much as we do.
It hates it more because it's inefficient. It will just skip your page and find one that gets to the point.
Right.
So give the answer first. Then you can use the rest of the page to add depth and context, broken up with clear formatting.
H2s, H3s, bullet points.
In tables. AI loves tables.
Yeah.
Anything you can do to put data into a structured format, rows and columns, is like giving the AI a perfectly organized spreadsheet. It's easy for it to parse and digest.
And speaking of structured data, we have to talk about schema markup.
The secret language of the robots.
It can feel really intimidating and technical for a lot of people. Do you need to be a developer to do this?
Not anymore, really. There are lots of plugins and tools that make it easier, but you do need to know which schema to focus on. For AIOs, the 2 most powerful types are FAQ page schema and how-to schema.
And it's not just about, slapping the code on the page, right? There's a right way and a wrong way.
There is. You need to be granular. For example, with how-to schema, most people just fill out the basic fields, but the real power is in nesting the step and supply and tool properties.
Let me give an example of that.
Sure. If your page is how to fix a leaky faucet, you don't just write, you will need a wrench. In your schema, you list wrench, and you specifically tag it with the tool property. You are explicitly telling the Google Entity Graph, this object is a tool used for this specific task.
You're removing all ambiguity. You're connecting the dots for the machine.
We're making it incredibly easy for the large language model to understand your content's meaning and relationships. You're essentially pre-digesting the information for it.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate here because this is the fear I hear from every publisher and content creator.
Let's hear it, the zero-click paradox.
Exactly. If I follow all this advice, if I put the perfect, concise answer at the very top of my page, and I wrap it in schema so the robot can easily scrape it, haven't I just perfectly optimized myself out of a click? Why would anyone ever visit my website?
It is the great fear of our time, and it's a completely valid one. Why help Google keep users on Google?
Right. So what's the strategy? What's the rebuttal to that fear?
The rebuttal, which comes with a grain of salt from Google itself, is that the clicks you do get from an AIO citation are supposedly higher quality clicks.
What does that even mean? A click is a click.
The logic goes like this. The AIO has already satisfied the user's basic top-level query. So if that user still choosing to click through on your citation, it means they are no longer looking for the what, they're looking for the why or the how. They are more deeply engaged and further down the consideration funnel.
They're a more qualified visitor.
That's the theory. So the tactic has to be a two-pronged approach. First, you provide that clear, concise, snapshot answer at the top to win the citation. That's your ticket to the game.
Get your foot in the door.
Yes. But then the rest of your page has to be structured to offer deep, unique value that an AI cannot summarize. Original research, a detailed case study, a strong, controversial opinion, a personal story, something that makes the user say, okay, the AI gave me the fact, but this site has the insight.
You give the AI the definition, but you give the human the experience.
That is how you survive and thrive in this new world. That's how you earn the click.
I love that framing. Okay, let's make this tangible. I want to hear about how this works in the real world. We have a few case studies in our research. Let's start with a small business one, the cybersecurity site.
This is such a great story because it shows you don't need a massive budget to succeed here. This was a small, specialized cybersecurity firm, and the initial AIO forecasts predicted they were on track to lose about 64% of their organic traffic.
For a small business, that's a death sentence.
Absolutely. They couldn't afford to rebuild their whole website, so they took a surgical approach. They used an AIO keyword checker and found just four key pages on their site that were highly vulnerable.
What made them vulnerable?
They were high-traffic informational blog posts, and the keywords they ranked for had a very high probability of triggering an AIO. They were in the direct line of fire.
So they initiated the defend protocol we talked about.
They did. They went all in on just those 4 pages. They rewrote the intros to be direct answers. They implemented FAQ and how-to schema. They added quotes from their internal experts. They embedded tables with data. They made those 4 pages the undisputed best possible source on the internet for those specific topics.
And what was the result? Did they just stop the bleeding?
They did more than that. They completely reversed their fortunes. The updated forecast, after they secured the AIO citations for those pages, projected an 84% increase in qualified traffic.
From just 4 pages. That's incredible.
It proves the lesson. You don't have to win on every single keyword. You just have to win the citations that matter most.
That's so empowering for smaller players. Now, what about on the other end? We have a case study for a big enterprise SaaS company.
This one highlights the scale of the risk. This was a huge company, and their traffic is projected to drop by 85%.
85%? How is that even possible?
Because their entire content strategy was built on the old model. They had thousands of glossary-style pages. What is tech term? Definition of acronym.
The exact kind of content that an AI can summarize in its sleep.
It's AI's favorite meal. So they were facing an existential threat. They identified their 15 most vulnerable high-traffic pages and launched a massive overhaul.
What did they do?
They did all the structural stuff schema, inverted pyramid, but they also went incredibly deep on EEAT signals.
Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. The quality signals.
Exactly. They added detailed author bios with credentials for every article. They cited primary research and linked out to university studies. They embedded videos of their engineers explaining the concepts. They did everything they could to prove to the AI that the information wasn't just correct, it was coming from a true authority.
And the result for them?
A projected 97% growth in organic traffic once they captured those AIO spots. They turned a potential catastrophe into their single biggest growth driver.
It really hammers home that idea of inclusion being the new ranking. Let's walk through one more practical example, the foot care one from the outline. I think this can really crystallize the research process for people.
For sure. So let's say you're a direct-to-consumer brand selling foot care products. Your instinct is to do keyword research around terms like foot care or pedicure at home.
The big generic head terms.
Right. And they're super competitive, and the serapes are dominated by big magazines and health sites. But if you do the AIO-focused research we talked about, you start to uncover these different, more specific queries.
The long tail questions.
Exactly. You find things like how to prevent cracked heels in the winter.
That's not just informational, it's the problem-solving intent. There's a pain point there.
A huge pain point. And it's seasonal, it's specific, and guess what? It triggers an AIO. So does best foot soak for dry, tired feet, and what tools do I need for a salon-quality home pedicure?
So what's the strategic play here?
The play is to stop trying to rank for the generic category page. Instead, you create the ultimate resource hub, a mega FAQ page, or a massive guide that targets a dozen of these specific long-tail problem queries.
You become the encyclopedia of solving foot problems.
Yes. And because you're providing the best, most structured answers to these nitty-gritty questions, the AI starts citing you. And when someone with cracked heels gets a summary that mentions your brand and they see you have a whole guide on it, they click. You've earned their trust before they even land on your site.
You're not the store anymore. You're the trusted advisor. The doctor, as you said earlier.
That's the winning model. Be the doctor.
This has been so good. We're getting into the home stretch now. Section 6. Let's talk about the tools of the trade. We've mentioned a few, but let's give our listeners a specific recommended tool stack for doing this work.
Okay, the essential stack. First, for tracking, you need something like SE ranking. Their AI results tracker is vital because it doesn't just tell you if an AIO is present, it tracks the volatility. You need to know if that AIO is there every day or if it comes and goes.
Then for the initial audit, you mentioned SEO Mater.
Yes, their free AIO keyword checker is great for doing bulk analysis. You can export a list of 1,000 keywords from your project, paste them in, and quickly get a sense of your overall AIO vulnerability.
And for new research, the big one, RFs.
RFs is indispensable here because of its SERP features filter. You can literally tell it, show me all the keywords related to my topic that have a search volume under 1,000 are questions, and already trigger an AI overview. It basically builds your target list for you.
And we can't forget the AI itself, using ChatGPT.
You have to use the AI to beat the AI. Don't just ask it for keywords, use it for semantic discovery. Feed it your topic and ask, what are all the related entities for this concept? Or what are 10 nuanced questions a true expert might ask about this? It will give you the map of the topic that you need to cover.
Now, we've focused heavily on Google's AIO, but we should make a quick distinction. AIO versus GEO.
Right. GEO stands for Generative Engine Optimization. It's the broader concept because this isn't just a Google phenomenon anymore. You have Perplexity, you have ChatGPT's own search function, you have Bing Copilot. They're all generative answer engine.
And do the same principles apply to optimizing for them?
By and large, yes. The fundamental strategy of choosing question-based, answer-focused keywords and providing structured, authoritative content works across all these platforms. They're all trying to solve the same problem.
Before we wrap this all up, we need to put a big warning label in this whole conversation. What is the risk? What's the catch?
The catch is twofold. First, as we just mentioned, volatility. These systems are constantly being tested and updated. An AIO that is on a soup heat today could be gone tomorrow, and you're trafficking with it. It's not a stable foundation.
And the second risk?
The competition is, well, it's rigged.
How so?
The data shows that 43% of AI overviews link back to one of Google's own properties.
Almost half.
Yep. You're competing against YouTube, Google Maps, Google Books. You're not just competing with other websites, you're competing with the house, and the house usually wins.
So what's the advice to mitigate that risk?
Don't put all your eggs in the AIO basket. You have to diversify your keyword strategy. Go hard after your AIO targets, yes. But you must also maintain and grow your safe haven keywords, the ones that still bring in traffic from traditional blue links. It has to be a portfolio approach.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, let's bring it all home. Let's summarize the core philosophy of what we've talked about today.
The philosophy is a complete shift in mindset. Choosing keywords for AIO is about letting go of the ego of the big, high-volume head term. It's about a deep, empathetic search for the long-tail, informational, question-based queries that real people have. And then it's about providing the most structured, factual, and authoritative answer to that question. You have to accept that the new #1 ranking is inclusion.
Inclusion is the new ranking. That's the quote of the day.
It really is.
And that leads perfectly into the final thought I want to leave everyone with. We spent this whole deep dive talking about how to satisfy the machine, how to feed the robot, how to structure your content so an algorithm can easily parse it.
Right. It's all very technical.
But let's step back. If 60% of searches truly are zero-click, and the AI is getting better and better at answering all the simple factual questions, then what is the purpose of your website?
The big existential question for every publisher.
It really is. Because if your website is just a repository of facts, then you're not a destination anymore. You're just free training data for Google's next model. The future of a successful website isn't about providing information. The AI can do that. It's about providing insight, perspective, and experience, the three things an AI cannot genuinely replicate.
The AI can tell you the steps to bake a cake. It can't tell you the story of how that cake recipe was passed down through your family and what it felt like to bake it with your grandmother.
Exactly. So as you go back to your keyword research, the final question you should ask yourself is this. Are you choosing keywords that just allow you to be another data point for a robot? Or are you choosing keywords that open the door for you to share a uniquely human experience? Your answer to that question will likely determine if you're still in business in 2028.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's the challenge.
Thanks for listening to SEO Deep Dive. Good luck out there.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening to Indepth SEO. If this episode added a new perspective, visit indepthseo.com for more thoughtful conversations on how search really works.